Buenas and half a day to our listeners on Guam and in the CNMI. It's now time for Total Health right here on Joy FM Radio, where your questions get answered by health professionals. If you have any health-related questions, we would love to hear from you. Call your questions and comments in at 472-1111 or text or WhatsApp 686-9999. If you're in the CNMI, please call 323-1113. Welcome everybody to Total Health.
Our joy of triathlons, and we have our special guest, not anybody else but Yumiko Imazu. Hi, Yumiko.
Hi, Elena.
Welcome to our studio. I believe this is your first time here, and I'm surprised we haven't even called you to come and talk to us earlier, because you're a woman. You're kind of quite famous in the sports field in Guam. People know your name, and you kind of have deserved your career. You have done quite a lot as it comes to sport in Guam. Correct me if I'm wrong. You were like triathlon officer for the Guam Triathlon Federation for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and also you're a teacher in Guam Adventist Academy. Your physical education, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and then you have done so many other things. You've played soccer, I believe, you know, that, and for 8 years, right?
It's about, yes.
About that.
Yeah.
Then you have been even director of the swimming club.
Yes, and I'm president of swimming club for a long time too.
This is so impressive. And like the more I read your biography, the more I'm so impressed. I'm like, I wish I can do half of what you have done already in your life. But welcome, Yumiko. I believe we can learn a lot from you and learn how not to be athletes. You know, not everybody is an athlete, but everybody can be. Even if you do have some disability, you can learn how to still exercise, compete, race, get better within yourself, have a better personal record. But we're hoping to learn some tips you can help us to stay healthier during 2024.
Okay.
Also, you're famous, but your sons are also, very, very important figures in Guam's sport. I know Tommy Imazu, he is a personal friend, and we have been working together at the Guam SDA clinic. And also Marky is a great guy. We have done together some of the bike cycling tours, cycling races. He scores quite high. If not, sometimes I know he has even won several competitions. It must be very exciting to be a mother of such two great athletes.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, it takes a long time, but yes.
Yes, but they had the right mother, because I believe you started them early, right?
Yes, very early. Yes.
Can you tell us more for those of us, that have children, and we would like them to see them succeeding, getting really fit? What is the secret of raising athletes, as children?
Okay. Both of them started swimming 4 or 5 years old too, and they train, and they are basically a swimmer for a long time, and then they started a triathlon in a high school year for the older son, and the younger son started about same time, so he started like 9 years old too.
9 years old doing triathlons?
Yes.
Oh, I have never heard anybody being younger. Wow. And you let them do that?
That's just a really short one, and my husband follow him, and then yes.
Wow. Okay, we'll go back to your sons, because I know they hold still the record of fastest swimming, right?
Some of the record. Yeah, they are in Guam representative and then Team Guam for both of them for the swimmer, and my younger son is also for the triathlon for the Team Guam, and also he's a track and field 800 meter and throwing javelin for the Guam team too, Team Guam too. Yeah.
Wow. Were you the inspiration for them, or they were just born like that naturally?
No, he tries so hard. They are. Especially swimming. It's a hard sport. Just going back and forth, back and forth every day in a swim. It's really hard sports, but it helps. It helps.
So it was you had to take them to for trainings every week, I guess. So you have quite a lot invested in them to get to that level.
Yes, for the parents, you have to be drive every day to every day. So like Agania pool is closed right now. For the Agania pool, when they are little, it's second form for them too. For me too.
But like, were you the one inspiring them, or were they like self-motivated and they came to the conclusion that, well, our mom is into that, why don't we try? How did all that start?
Well, when they're little, they just enjoy for the swimming, and when they're getting older, it's getting harder. But they look at for older kids going off island and Team Guam. They are motivated. I want to go to off island. I want to go to them more and more. So it's hard, but they are patient to stay there to get that position to do and go. Yes.
And they're still going. Mark is still competing, and when
Right
they're on the
now.
island, I know they like to participate.
Yeah, that's really fun. If they go to off island, until then training is not so easy and it's not fun. Yeah.
Right. But let's start in the first place. What did motivate you to get into sports? I guess, don't take me wrong, but at your generation, sport hasn't been so promoted, triathlons. So something must have triggered you to choose this career.
Okay, for triathlon, well, honestly, I really didn't know until my older son started. In Japan, that time, my time, it's not popular thing, I think. I didn't know even.
Okay.
Then my older son was started because his friend asked him to do first only for the swim. They can do the team. So somebody asked, he's a swimmer, and let's do the team. And he started swim for the team. Then eventually other friend asked me, let's do the everything. Then he started to train and bike and running too. Then oh, that's the triathlon, I realized that time. So it's a long time ago. But my older son was started a little bit late, like 15 years old. So it's not really going high. But my younger son started 9 years old, I told you. So he started early. He has an advantage. So when he finished in the senior year, he got the national champion. So he had, trained quite everything, running and biking and everything. So I just follow a little step only. They are doing much more.
But were you an example to them doing that yourself?
That's, I think, really important too, because they are just complaining, you have to push hard. I'm just telling, and then they are complaining, you don't know how hard. So I have to try to do. Let's go running. Let's go swimming. When they're swimming, I swim. And they are running, and sometimes I run and everything. Yeah, I try a little bit. Not much like them, but yes, I do.
I know. I mean, you have been, an officer at the Triathlon Federation. So obviously you have done it. And every time I talk to them, they speak so highly of you. And they're like, oh, our mom, she was our role model. And that's why we wanted to follow her. And I would like to inspire all the parents to go in that route. Maybe not everybody is born a runner or a swimmer or a biker. Neither I. My parents were never into sport, but I got really fascinated by triathlons for many reasons. And my goal is really to run one day the Ironman, the full Ironman. I have done half of it, but I would like to do the full one because I believe there is so much wisdom we can gain out of hard work, endurance, working hard towards it. And you learn a lot about yourself. You put yourself into more challenges and you make it fun. I love the triathloners. They're different type of athletes. They really enjoy doing it, and they like the challenge. If it's not hard, they wouldn't do it. But because it is hard, that's why they feel challenged. Do you feel that way yourself?
Yes, really challenging for that. Yeah, 3 different things they have to do, and that's hard. But but I think it's not the like some people are really competitive, but some people is just fitness level and they enjoying doing that. So that's the first step, I guess. They have a really short one and a super sprint. They can start it too. So everybody can do it. Even they can do the team. That's nice thing, right?
Right. So when we talk about team, that's a relay team. It means 3 different people can join, and one can do the swim, the other one can do the bike. Usually this is how it follows. And then the third one can do the running. And it is fun all the way around, like just clasping hands and just giving encouragement to the other person to continue. I remember when I started, of course, I was feeling very heavy, very non-fit, trying to do a triathlon. But every single person on the way that will bypass me will say, "Give it up, good job." And that would encourage me to continue going, right? Well, you can see some sports like in swimming, obviously you don't talk, but biking, you get people bypassing you, and it's kind of a little bit can be on the snobbish side. But when it comes to triathlons, because it is so hard and we are all going through this hard field, everybody encourages everybody, and that was really what really motivated me to stay with that sport. I believe you had the same experience.
We are heading into a break, so go ahead and give us a call on Guam, 671-472-1111. And from the CNMI, 670-323-1113. We're streaming live on Facebook, so go ahead and leave your triathlon question in the comment section below. You can listen live online, joyfmradio.net. We'll be right back.
Sometimes you have days where everything's running just fine. No major highs or lows, just a normal kind of day. But then there are those times when everything slows down and things get a little sluggish. Sometimes that's how our budget is here. At Joy FM,
we could really use a little energy boost. Your donations and support go a long way to helping us
run at the right speed. For more on how you can help, visit
joyfmradio.net.
Si Joe Moasi, and thanks for listening to Total Health on Joy FM. We want to hear from you. Call in with your health-related questions at 472-1111 in Guam or in the CNMI. The number to call is 323-1113. Text or WhatsApp us at 686-9999. And now, back to the show.
Yumiko, I would like to dive a little bit more into the triathlon as a sport. From what I'm reading and all the history, it started like in 1920s in France, and they were calling them the course du trois sports, which means the course of the 3 sports: swimming, biking, and running. But it hadn't become like an official sport until it was, really planned well from an American in 1970s in California. And then it started really. But worldwide, it hasn't been so popularized, until the latest years. And I heard about it 10 years ago, but obviously people have been competing long ago. And there are many different distances. If you think that triathlon is something very intimidating, I have good news for you. They're short distances, and then you can build up with your own pace until you train even for Ironman. Even Ironman is not the limit. Nowadays, we even have ultra triathlons, which take much longer for that. But I was very pleased when I came to Guam 2 years ago to know that Guam actually offers super sprints, and quite often, right?
Yes, we have. You can check that the Triathlon Federation calendar on the Facebook, I think. Yeah, every year they have a different distance races, yes.
Right, and like the first part of the year, we have the super sprint in which you can enjoy a short swim, short run, short biking.
Yeah, the super sprint is about, well, it depends on the here probably 200 to 300 meter swim and 10K bike and a 3K run. That's a super sprint. And the next level is a sprint. Sprint is a double from that, the super sprint. So about 750 meter swim and 20K bike. Then
Yumiko, I'll just say it in yards because some people that they don't work in meters. I work in meters like you, coming from Europe. But super sprint is 400 yards and 6.21 miles of a bike and then 1.55 miles of a run, which is kind of doable, even if you decide to walk at the end. And then the sprint triathlon is 800 yards swim, 12.42 miles bike, and 3.1 miles run.
yeah, so it's just double. So yeah.
And then we continue to the
Okay, Olympic distance. Olympic distance is for 1,500 meter swim.
1,640 yards,
Okay, then the bike is 40K.
24.85 miles,
Then running is 10K.
6.2 miles running.
Then half Ironman is double size. So here is like 3,000 meter swim. And next what is it? 80K. Well, it just depends on the race though, but it's getting double and a double. Half Ironman, and ultramarathon. I'm not really sure for that one, and here too.
Right.
So, but yeah,
Right. So the Ironman is like 2.4 miles of a swim, and this is 112 miles of a bike. It is really exciting to look at those numbers, and you think like, how can you do something like that? And then on top of that, you run a whole marathon in a full Ironman. But if you are surprised by those measurements, the ultra triathlon actually can vary. As you said, it can go from 4.8 miles to 72 miles swim. Okay, we don't want to scare anybody with those numbers, and especially last radio show we were talking about running, that there is a guy that he ran 250 miles without stopping. That took him 80 hours without sleeping, just running, which is like incredible. And when you compare those numbers, like, oh, maybe it's doable for some people. And then biking 3,360 miles. I don't know how many times we have to circle Guam to get to those measurements. And 786 miles of run. It can start lower for an ultra triathlon, and there are some that are double and triple ultra triathlons, which means you do one full Ironman every day for 7 days.
wow.
I don't know. In a way, I have to speak up here. I'm not saying it's not healthy, but there are consequences for even overdoing your sport.
Yeah.
Recent studies in showing that people that are all the time pushing the limits like to this level, they can experience even atrial fibrillation that could stay with them, for the rest of their life, which is an abnormal rhythm of your heart that can lead to serious consequences. So I believe our bodies are temple of God, and God has designed them in a special way. It is good to push ourselves, but we need to listen to our bodies, how much we can do that and how healthy it is to do that. Have you seen any other consequences of like overdoing a sport?
Overdoing. Some of the people really, doing the marathon and Ironman, sometimes it happen a knee problem and
Hip problems down the road.
Right,
Yes, still, but with good food, good sleep regimen, taking care of yourself, really eating a lot of antioxidants, you can keep your joints, your muscles, and your bones in a good shape for many years. Yumiko, I'm very surprised every time when I read about a person like 92 years old that finished a triathlon, and then 87 years old that finished an Ironman. I also was reading for a lady from Loma Linda, from the Blue Zone, that she's 102 and she is doing triathlons, super, sprint triathlons, and that's my dream and desire that one day I will continue competing. I'm not doing great. I was doing much better when I was younger, but now I'm not doing as great in my 40s, but I'm planning to be one of the best in my 50s, and actually even better in my 60s, and maybe the best in my 70s. Maybe I will win a race at that time. Why not? 80s, 90s. We can continue forward. We can stay healthy because triathlons also have been proven from literature that they prolong your life. And if you adopt it as a lifestyle, you will just reap great benefits.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's great.
That's great, right? I see so many of our great athletes. By the way, we have great athletes in Guam. Time will not be enough to mention all their names. We have Manami. She's phenomenal, and she's such an inspiration for all of us. She's always there. She's, always working very hard. She's very determined, and she has been announced to be the sportswoman, the athlete of the year, and the more power to her. And I can see how hard she's working, and she's I don't know, she is a person that will never stop doing triathlons. I'm sure that in her 80s, 90s, 100s, we will still we'll be seeing her competing. Then we have Torres, we have Dr. Miyagi, and now we can see the children of those great athletes, just like your sons, also competing and trying from very young to stay healthy and stay athletic. And that's good. That's a great education that parents can give to their children to stay healthy. Yumiko, I visited last month. I visited the Marshall Islands, and we know how Marshall Islands are. They're very tiny. They have a tiny piece of land surrounded by a lot of water, and so there is not much space to do sports or do triathlons, even though in some places you might. And it was interesting to learn that the government had to put a lot of money and project in order to make one small street for people to be able to run or walk, because there is no space for that. And what you'll be surprised to know is that, for example, they don't have in school, they don't have physical education.
Oh, really?
Yes, they don't have any teachers. They don't even have it at all on the island. It's not in the curriculum in the school. So
really?
They don't have physical education. And we see how important is that. If you don't have that, how do you expect the population to stay healthy? Just basic. We're not talking about triathlons. We're talking about basic physical education. Many of the people, even in the Marshall Islands, they have to rent shoes to be able to go for a jog. They don't have. They have sandals. So if they want to stay fit, they have to go and rent shoes. Have you ever heard something like that?
No, I haven't. This is the first for me, but thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it was first for me. And I said, wow, we don't even realize how, blessed we are. Most of us in Guam, we do have sports shoes.
Yes.
The things that we take for granted, we do have a swimming suit, right?
Yes.
And, bikes are a little bit more expensive. You don't have to go with the top one initially, but it can be found secondhand. If you want to invest in that sport, you can, and you can start even small. But we do have that opportunity. Guam also have a lot of hills. They're challenging, but they are good ground for training. And certainly it's amazing to be able to cycle the whole island
Yes.
and embrace all those challenges. And some islands, some in our Micronesia islands, they don't have those facilities. They don't have that. And we would like to encourage them just the same,
Oh, yes.
right?
Yes.
And maybe you can visit some of those places and help with your physical education background.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be great, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Yumiko, tell us more about triathlons. I don't think triathlons are limited to any age, any gender, right? Any social background. Anybody can start.
I think for the two little kids, no, maybe 8, 9 years old, they can swim. Yes. Then, yeah, any age, up to 100 years old or more. Yes. Yes.
And it's a good way because you have to put quite a lot into perspective and train for the triathlons. You can't just get up from your couch in front of the TV and finish one.
Yeah, they have to train a lot. So I don't know. It's depend on the people. Some people can swim. Some people cannot swim. So if they cannot swim, why don't you start from the running, right? They can do running.
They can do running. And,
Yeah.
you know, many times we're so tired after the bike and the swim. Many people can even walk.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, we don't do the triathlons for walking, but that's also an option. I was listening to a talk that says in triathlon, you're supposed not to do 3 things. Number 1, don't drown. Number 2, don't crash on the bike.
Oh, yes.
And number 3, don't walk. You know, if you don't do those things, you are a triathlete. And I believe it is true. Well, there's so many benefits of trying to get involved with the triathlons. And I've listened to a story about a Catholic nun. Her name is Madonna Butter. She is famous. They noticed that when she was going from different convents and she had to bring different things, she was so fast. And they were impressed that she was so fast. Well, she became a triathlete and she's competing, and, you know, at her old age, and she loves it. She's the only non-triathlete, and she's an inspiration for many people that only the sky is the limit.
Wow, that's a great story. I hope we can hear more when we get back from our break. We are going into a short break. Go ahead and give us a call on Guam, 671-472-1111, and the CNMI 670-323-1113. You can text WhatsApp in your question to 671-686-9999. We're streaming live on Facebook, so go ahead and leave your comments in the comment section below, and we'll be right back.
From one generation to the next, people's reasons for giving of themselves change. Generally speaking, baby boomers tend to ask, hey, what am I going to get out of this? Generation Xers tend to say, hey, if it's for the good of mankind, why not? Well, we offer a lot of great music and ministry for you, but you can also be pleased about the fact that we are reaching thousands of others in the area with the message of Jesus. So thanks for supporting our station with your finances. Whether you're a boomer or an Xer, or even that newest generation, what will we call them? Generation Chad? Well, I hope not. From
Joy FM.
Welcome back. You're listening to Total Health on Joy FM. Call in with your health-related questions to 472-1111 in Guam. If you live in the CNMI, we want to hear from you too. Call 323-1113 or text or WhatsApp us at 686-9999. And now, here's more Total Health.
Yumiko, before I ask you to give us some insight of how we can prepare for triathlons, we got a question, and it goes this way. Do triathloners get a break? Do they have breaks?
We love breaks. We love breaks on the island.
Right?
We have to know.
Yeah, triathlon. Well, they have to prepare well, and before the race, you have to sleep well, and they have to eat well too. Especially, they have to eat a healthy food. Well, speaking of that, not only triathlon, I'm doing the coaching for high school cross country and a track and a field team. And I always tell them, and they have to eat healthy, and they have to hydrate themselves. That's really important because Guam is really hot. They have to hydrate like at least 3 days before to start. And always they have to drink water, or maybe coconut water is good too. They have to drink well. They have to eat healthy vegetable, fruits a lot. And if you're doing a race for the long distance, like Olympic distance, half Ironman type of thing, or just marathon, half marathon type of thing, you have to eat the carb well too, like a lot of rice and pasta before the race.
Like healthy rice, healthy
Oh
pasta.
yes, of course.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Some grains, some beans.
Of course, even a protein too. After the race, you need a protein too for get recover for that. Yes. Yes.
What type of protein?
Protein and the beans are good, and you have that soy milk, almond milk, whatever the grain milk. That's good too. Yeah.
To rehydrate. Yes,
Yeah.
we need the proteins. We also need healthy fats for energy, but then for recovery, in order to stabilize, our energy, we certainly need protein. So, how do you coach? How do you prepare your students for those, long distances or difficult tracks?
Okay. For the cross country is really, really hard sports for them. Then mentally, they have to run every day, just keep going, just running for 1 day long distance, 1 day is speed training for the short distance, the sprint distance. So many laps, and they have to run. That's the training. And always I'm saying, eat healthy, hydrate yourself. That's not every day they have to hear that.
Do you encourage them to sleep well?
Yeah, sleep well. That's important. But they are tired after practice. They sleep. That's good thing.
Right. Well, tell us more about how we can prepare them mentally, because physically is important, but this is an endurance sport, and it does require quite a lot of mental muscle. Actually, more mental muscle than physical muscle in order to complete. And I remember, I'll share a personal experience. I was very impressed with my coach. I met him on a mission trip, and he was all covered with Ironman tattoos. I said, "Oh, so you run Ironman?" He said, "Oh, plenty of them." And I looked at him, and he wasn't one of the skinniest people that I know. And he said, "You know what? It happened." I'm like, "How that all started for you? How did you start into triathlons?" He said, "One time with my friends, we were buying another hamburger. And, and as we got this hamburger full of mayonnaise and ketchup and, all several layers of cheese, we grabbed it and we looked at each other. We were quite overweight. We were obese, both of them," he was saying. "And we looked at each other and we said, are we going to continue living that way, or are we going to do something about it?" And he said, "I remember both of us, we looked at each other and we dropped those hamburgers in the bin. And we said, we need to start right." He said, "I was so fat," he said. "I was so big that I was ashamed to run on the streets because people will make fun of me." He said, "So I started running at night." And he said even one time he was chased by a bear because running at night in Florida, it's not one of the, great ideas. And he said, "I started at night all sweaty, and I just wanted to change myself." Then he said, "I always liked biking, and I love swimming. So I started slowly. He actually finished first in several Ironmans.
Wow.
This is how determined he was. And after that, after he started into Ironmans, he has no other favorite sport. And he was encouraging me. I will come from work, I will be very tired. He said, "Elena, what are you doing now?" I said, "Oh, I had a very tough day in ICU." He said, "Go for a run." I'm like, no, I am barely walking. He said, go for a 10 miles run. Go now. Okay. It's like, and he would be so hard on me. He said, this is what he used to say to me, whoever bleeds during, training will not sweat during a race. So I was like, okay, I have to be bleeding, I have to be hurting. If I'm hurting, I'm doing the right thing. No, of course, that's not literally taken. And so then I started into running, biking, swimming. And even though I never perfected it, I still enjoy it. And I believe that's the beauty of the triathlons.
Yeah.
Have you had similar experience? Have you heard about somebody trying so hard to get into triathlons?
Yes. Many people is just coming from somewhere, like some of them are biker comes to the triathlon. First, they cannot swim and they cannot run, but they are training and their weak part, they train, they swim, and every day they swim and get better for that. Then they're going to transition to, they're going to start to train the running. Then 3 things match and they are getting better for that triathlon. So, yeah, they're training hard though. Yeah.
It is hard.
Yeah.
It is hard, and it can be actually quite challenging. It says it will hurt.
Yeah.
That's not a
hurt.
sport that you just will go there and, come home with no body aches. It says it will hurt. It will take time. It will require dedication. It will require willpower. You will need to make healthy decisions. It will require sacrifice. You will need to push your body to the maximum. There will be temptation, but I promise you, when you reach your goal, it will have been all worth it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true though.
I
Yeah.
remember when I was doing my half Ironman. Oh, wow. I was like the last few miles running. I was like aching. My knees were not cooperating. And I said, how did I sign up myself for that? And I remember like running, walking, and I was thinking, I will never do that again. Never, never. I was just so determined I would never do that again. As I was crossing the finishing line and I heard my name, and then they gave me the medal, I felt like, wow. When is the next race coming?
Encouragement.
I felt so great that I said, wow, this is something I would like to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, reminds me that my younger son and the last one, the national, he got a champion, but the running part and 10K, they do 5K and 2 laps for the national. And he had a 1 lap, he had a blister, and he came back on the first, and he just right after goal, he cannot walk even. He had probably 3 inches of blister on his feet. So yeah, that's hard, and mentally he was pushing. That's I could see. So.
Yeah, it is difficult to build that mental resilience. I remember I was going through a very difficult time when I was training for triathlons initially, and I was telling my coach, I want to become strong physically so that can help me to be strong mentally. She looks at me and she said, it doesn't work like that. You have to be strong mentally in order to be able to do that physically. I would like to inspire more people to get into triathlon. So what do they have to have? Like, do they have to buy some special equipment? Tell us more about the transition breaks between the sports. It would be nice for you to kind of guide us step by step.
Okay. So, but if you are not doing right now anything, you don't run, you don't swim, you don't bike, you have to start on one thing. You have to decide to do one thing to start to get that. If it's a swimming, you need a goggle and a swimsuit. If you didn't try to start a biking, you need a bike. And if you want to start running, you need a good running shoes. Probably it's easier to motivate yourself, too easy to run. But other than that, then if you get a certain level, probably you want to get more nice bike. a road bike, more expensive bike. It will, but when you're starting, you just simple one to start it, and if you like it, you can buy it more.
Yeah, technology is kind of important in this sport. And
Yes.
yes, for the small distances, you can go with the bike you have as long as you participate and you can feel the vibe from it. But yeah, I remember when I was starting to buy different things, you're like, oh, okay, you need a swimming suit. And mind you, you can't have special shoes for that because all that can give you some advantage to the other athletes. So it's just a swimming suit, maybe a cap and goggles you'll need for the swim. And then there is a transition area in which you can come and you can dress up yourself and get your bike, put a helmet. If you want to have glasses, you can for long distances, or gloves if you have, if you feel that you get blisters when you're riding, you can. And we actually got another question saying, are the triathlon bikes comfortable? What's your saying about that? Are the bikes actually comfortable for triathlons?
I don't think so.
Even though they're advanced and they're expensive, it takes a little bit of, adjustment from our side. But we have special clothing that you can have with some padding. And sometimes I wear two of them to have more padding and to be able to, to do long distances. And it is doable.
Yes, the triathlon suits, yes, but still, it's a hardy.
It is.
Right?
You might hurt a little bit the next day, but once you have so much enjoyment from it, you kind of forget about the pain. All the pain is forgotten and you just remember that you have completed it. I listened to a talk that says, if you quit during a triathlon, nobody would care. But you will remember it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It will be in your mind that like, hey, I could have competed, I could have done, I could have pushed harder. And even if you don't, and if you don't manage to finish the triathlon at any distance, you can always try. This is what it's the good thing. You can always try, which stands for TRI. Try, try until you can.
Yeah.
We're going into our last break. If you got a question on triathlon, go ahead and give us a call on Guam. 671-472-1111 and the CNMI 670-323-1113. You can text WhatsApp your question in 671-686-9999. You can listen live online, joyfmradio.net, and we're streaming live on Facebook. Leave a question in the comment section below. We'll be right back.
Unlike humans, God is not impressed by how famous or how big something or someone is. For example, you've heard of LA, Miami, or Chicago, but have you heard of these places?
Chicken, Alaska. Eek, Arizona. Wiener, Arkansas. Disco, Tennessee. Idiotville, Oregon. Hoo-hoo, West Virginia.
Well, you might get a little chuckle out of them, but to God, it really doesn't matter where you live.
Fruityland, California.
To God, everyone has value and significance, whether they're from Chicago or
Santa Claus, Georgia.
Dallas or
Typo, Kentucky.
Denver or
Gas City, Indiana.
Jesus said if you're faithful in the small things, you'll be faithful in the bigger things. God is paying a lot more attention to our small lives than what we could imagine. If you're not being faithful to God where you are, you wouldn't be any more used to God in St. Louis or any other place.
Poop Out Hill, California. Normal, Illinois. Diagonal, Iowa. Beans Corner Bingo, Maine.
God could use you just as well in Vancouver or
ZZYZX, California.
Atlanta or
Hygiene, Colorado.
So don't forget, your life is very important to God, even if you are from
I'm Alone, Wisconsin.
From Joy FM.
And we're back with more Total Health. Give us a call with your medical questions. Number to call in Guam is 472-1111. If you're in the CNMI, the number to call is 323-1113. Or you can text or WhatsApp us at 686-9999. Now back to the program.
Well, this is our last session of my favorite talk about triathlons. And I'm so inspired and so passionate about them. And thank you so much, Yumiko, for all the knowledge and experience you have shared with us. We're coming to our kind of a spiritual application of the triathlons, because triathlon is a tough sport. Not everybody wants to do it. And in fact, in order for you to complete triathlon, you have to be in your best health.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
Right? This is what I was learning, that if you are able to do a triathlon, you're still good. You're still fit. Your health is still very good. And we can certainly translate the application of being physically fit into actually improving spiritually. There's some Bible verses that I call them my triathlon verses. Before triathlon, I will read them and I will just encourage myself. One of them is in Isaiah 40:31 that says, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength." Do we lack strength? We do.
Yes.
But if we renew it in the Lord, that's another thing. And they will soar on wings like eagles. This I call our biking. They will run and not grow weary. That's our running. And they will not faint. This is my swimming. So I was like, God, this is so amazing. A triathlon is coming. I want you to renew my strength. And every time I'm thinking I'm going to faint after my swimming, God renews my strength. And then I do the biking, and then I think I cannot do the running, but God somehow renews my strength every time. I have another also Bible verse that I would like to share with you. It comes from Hebrews 12:1 and 2, and goes this way: "Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight." Isn't it important not to have so much weight in triathlon? Let's put aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily besets us, or anything that will not keep us in a good shape. And let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. If we keep the race of triathlon, even triathlon in life, we're going to be rewarded. We're going to get not only a medal, we're going to get even a throne next to Jesus in heaven. Like, great things are ahead of us, but it will hurt. It will be difficult. It will require all of you, and it might take some time to get there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, some triathlons, you can finish them under an hour, like the sprint triathlon. But some of them, my half Ironman took me almost 7 hours.
Yes, it takes long. Yes.
It takes 7 hours. It wasn't like a short course. And some of them, I know, the marathon that took place in Everest, where I was there, it took some athletes 19 hours to complete it.
It's long.
It is long. It is long. The triathlon that I heard, that you can do a triathlon in every single continent every day. So you run during the day, and then they take you with a plane to the next continent.
Wow.
Then you do it the next day, and you do it, over every single
Really?
continent. Cost around $20,000.
Wow.
But there are people that are really excited to do something like that.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I imagine if you are accustomed to challenges and difficulties, you can more easily overcome even life's challenges, your spiritual battles.
Yes. That's I'm thinking for that. I'm basically trained to the kids and high school and everyone, PE or coaching, and even on my sons. That's everything is so hard. Swimming, triathlon, everything is hard. But that's they can do. That's endurance makes for both spiritual endurance too. It's matches that. So that's really important for them to not giving up easily. Yeah, that's I'm encourage them always.
While I was training for triathlons, and this was a time COVID hit. And I am so accustomed to challenges in my life. Actually, I learned to embrace the pain. I learned to embrace it. You know, the more pain you go through, the more God can turn it into power. And when COVID hit and so many people were like losing hope, and you can see so many, people dying, it was very heartbreaking. At that moment, I felt I was kind of born for time as this. When people were losing that hope, I know what struggle is and perseverance, and I felt very fast in like helping and assisting and giving hope to others, because I know what challenges is and I know how it works and how painful it is. But if you persevere, there will be, a reward for that.
Oh, yes.
It says, God can give everybody a happy ending. If it is not happy, it's not the ending. But if you persevere, even though it might take ages, and you run on that field boldly, believing that there is a reward at the end, you will complete it, and God will give you more than a reward, or more than what you have ever imagined.
Amen.
Have you felt so accomplished after you finish a race?
Yes, always in any race. If you finish line, it's so happy, accomplished, and then, yay, right?
Yes, it is exciting, and that doesn't matter. In triathlons, you don't have to compete against others. You can do every time, try to be better with yourself, and this is what I do every time. I was like, let me try to be better in that. Let me try to be better in the transition times, because in triathlon, nothing goes as planned. You plan your best, but there are also so many unexpected things that can take place, and so what it is required from us to really prepare the best as we can.
Yes.
And that will help us even in spiritual things, even emotional, social things. Always prepare the best as you can, and then leave whatever the circumstances, leave them to God.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
And if challenges come our way, it is because God is trying to teach us something. I cannot imagine any other sport than triathlons that can actually exemplify the hardship of a Christian going towards heaven.
Because it's the hardest sport.
It is the hardest sport.
Yep.
Yeah, I know there are decathlons and, that involve even more disciplines, which I find really difficult. But like swimming surrounded by so many people, everybody tries to be before you. Sometimes you might get kicked on the way. And sometimes you can even swim against the current. Where I was competing in Florida, there are alligators in the water. But when we start jumping, when you see hundreds of people jumping in the water, so alligators go different ways. So this is how life is. There are alligators there. There are sharks out there. It's not easy. And you have to keep on going. Otherwise, you can't even exit. Once you start, it's difficult really to come back. And actually, you can't. It's really difficult. And you have to finish it. And once you finish it, then you have to change now for another challenge. Biking can be exhausting.
Oh, yes. It's a different muscle they are using. So then the swimming to the biking is, it's really tiring.
It is really tiring. Yeah, I attempted to do the tour of Guam, several weeks ago. And unfortunately, I had a burst tire. And, I did 40 miles. I had to quit, but it was very exciting, and I loved it every second on the way. Once you finish though biking, then running can be painful, like switching from biking to running. Everybody that has tried it initially, it is really, really difficult and very difficult to run right away, but I learned to love it. I actually like when I'm so stiff from biking that I'm like, okay, let me, reshift this lactic acid and let me keep on running. And now I actually enjoy all the pain that comes with it. I can only imagine, Yumiko, how many medals you have at home, the whole family.
Quite a lot.
Quite a lot, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a collector of having them, and a lot of T-shirts.
Oh, yeah. yes, a lot of t-shirts and a 5K and yeah, a lot of things. Yeah, triathlon. Yes.
Right, right. We get also good goodies with all those races.
Oh yes, yeah. If you're not a member of the Triathlon Federation, you're gonna get the towel and a water bottle. Every year is different, but yeah, you're gonna get something too. So
Yeah, and I love the design of the t-shirts. Honestly, every time I go to a race, I'm like, let's see what color is the t-shirt this time. And I love them and I wear them with so much pride because it was a hard work to get any one of them.
yeah, no, their design is really nice. I like it too. Yeah.
Right, right. So I'm determined never to quit. You know, unless I really can't.
That's good.
Life is tough. Maybe some sicknesses might come, but I'm determined to continue.
Oh, good. 200 years old.
200
right?
years old. And after I have seen people that are even, you know, as I was attempting to climb to above the base camp of Everest, I saw people that are blind, people that have multiple sclerosis, people that have so many challenges, and they're still determined to complete that race. I believe we can do it. I believe if we have, you know, the strength, I think it's a good sport for us to try, especially if we're trying to go as high as heaven.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
Well, thank you, Yumiko, so much today. We learned a lot about triathlons. I hope we inspired even Scott to come and join us next time, or maybe his children. And thank you for all those advices. I believe more parents would be inspired with your example, and many more children will see being enrolled in the triathlons.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Elena, and thank you, Yumiko, and thank you, listeners, for your questions. Tune in next Wednesday for more Total Health.
Be sure to check with your doctors before making any sudden life changes discussed today. Total Health is brought to you in partnership with Guam Seventh-day Adventist Clinic, where health is their mission. Be sure to check with your doctors before making any sudden life changes discussed today. Total Health is brought to you in partnership with Guam Seventh-day Adventist Clinic, where health is their mission. We look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Thank you and si Juas Masi for listening to Total Health right here on Joy FM.
You're listening to KFDA.